Old Trafford falls, an evil twin in Bucharest, and 2 more bets from Sam after another flawless week last time. All that and more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Betting Expert Football Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Jenkins, joined as ever by Betting Expert's Football Editor Sam Ingram. How you doing, man?
Hello, Dan. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great. It's, fantastic. Can't complain. Last weekend of the season coming up in the Premier League. And, we got like 2 weeks off and then it's straight into the Euros. So,
lovely. There's not too much left on the line now, is there, in the Premier League, unfortunately. I was hoping we were going to get to the final day and, have something really big on the line, but...
Yeah, Manchester City ruined any possibility of that last night with a comfortable win at Tottenham in the end, even if Heung-min Son did miss a golden chance in the 85th minute to equalise and take it to the final day. But
that could have been it.
Yeah, probably should have been it. Right, what have you got for us this week?
So Lucas Perez in Deportivo La Coruña over in Spain. So at 34 years old, Lucas Perez, former Arsenal frontman, Dan, he left Cadiz, where he was playing his football in La Liga, and he went to Deportivo de La Coruña in the 3rd division. He paid nearly 500,000 euros out of his own pocket to pay the release clause to get the transfer over the line to his hometown club, a club which a generation of football fans will fondly remember punching above their weight at the top level in the Champions League, with the likes of Diego Tristan and Roy Mackay up top in their white and blue strip, 2 Championship manager cult heroes, by the way. And that's a side that got to the Champions League semis in 2003 and also won La Liga in the year 2000. So in an era right now where footballers are, packing their bags and heading prematurely to Saudi Arabia and the like to pick up bags of cash, there's still a handful of Lucas Perez's about opting for a hometown romance out of his own pocket over everything else, which is lovely to see. And on Sunday, as if it was scripted by the footballing gods themselves, Lucas Perez scored the winner against the side chasing them in second spot in the division from a direct free kick as he whipped the ball into the bottom right-hand corner of the net. That was his 12th goal in 30 matches this season, and that win on the weekend crowned them victors of the 3rd tier with 2 games to play, handing Deportivo La Coruña safe passage to the Segunda division. And just quickly, Dan, I'm sure you will, but would you care to find out some Arsenal-related trivia?
Sam, bring it on. If I don't know it, I'd be surprised, but bring it on.
So Lucas Perez is still the last Arsenal player to score a hat-trick in the Champions League. And that came against Basel in Switzerland in December 2016. So he's one of just 6 players to score a Champions League hat-trick for Arsenal, alongside Thierry Henry, Olivier Giroud, Danny Welbeck, Mesut Ozil, and one more player. Do you know who that is?
Can you give me the players again?
Thierry Henry, Giroud, Welbeck, and Ozil. Kind of quite maybe like 6'3", 6'4", fair head, proper striker, proper centre forward.
John Hartson. I'm struggling here. Who?
Nicholas Bentner.
Bloody hell, when was that? Who are they playing?
I actually have no idea. I've just got the list in front of me. I'm not sure, but I know he got a hat trick, so there we go.
Fair play. Lucas Perez, I quite liked him. I thought he was a pretty good player. He scored a couple of goals. He was always quite lively when he came on. Because whereas I wasn't sure why he didn't play more. I don't know, everyone else seemed to hate him, but I thought he was pretty good. But yeah, what a story. As you say, it's quite rare in football these days for a story like that, considering all
I love it.
Going. Yeah.
I love it when there's like a big player coming to the end of his career and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to drop down a few divisions and go back home. So I just picture in like my dreams, just picture me doing that, having a top flight career at Liverpool or something, and then coming home 35 years old to Plymouth Argyle and getting them into the Premier League.
Bossing that centre midfield because you couldn't run at that age.
Exactly, yeah, maybe centre half. By 35 years old. But that's brilliant. I love that. I want to see more of that. So.
Definitely. So, Premier League, as we touched upon earlier, it's the final weekend in the Premier League. on Sunday, final set of matches. And regardless of what happens on the final day, there will be a new Premier League record set, Sam. Do you know what for? It's not for goals. Well, it is for goals, but...
No.
So, regardless of who goes down, the team in 17th will be the new team with the lowest points total without getting relegated. So Nottingham Forest currently on 29 points, goal difference of -19. Luton are on 26 points, so 3 behind, with a goal difference of -31. Obviously, Forest win, they'll finish on 32 points, but that will break the current lowest ever record holder for a team with the lowest points total without getting relegated. Do you know what that is, Sam?
38.
It's 34 for West Brom in 04-05. Is that Great Escape year?
Wow.
I remember that so vividly, like the pitch invasion at the end, Kieran Richardson being held aloft like some sort of deity. I was looking back at the stats. They won only one of their first 23 matches in the Premier League that season. West Brom still stayed up.
That's outrageous. I remember like in the final months of the season, everyone just kind of took West Brom on as their, second club, and were just willing them over the line. So yeah, I remember that.
I think they were bottom going into the final day and stayed up because of the way results went.
Class, but yeah, it is a skinny total this year, isn't it? Obviously, we've had a few points deductions, so that plays into it.
Does help.
But even still, it's really skinny, really competitive down there this year, which has been good. So yeah, next up we have UK waterfalls. Next up, not usually the type of scenic wonder we associate with the UK.
So our other podcasts, Sam, UK walks.
Probably expecting, waterfall chat in your Balis, in your Thailands, etc. I'm sure we've all seen someone, traveling Southeast Asia, uploading the standard waterfall picture on Instagram of them like sprawled out across a rock or something. But this time around, we're looking at UK waterfalls. And this is from, I can't take any credit, it's from a tweet from Chris Howard. And it pointed out an interesting fact following the downpour in Manchester in the closing stages of United versus Arsenal on Sunday. So you've probably seen the videos and the images of water like gushing down through the concourse and coming off the roof above. One of like many parts of the stadium which has been overlooked from any kind of tender love and care under the Glazers' reign. So Chris Howard's tweet reads as follows. At a height of roughly 55 metres, Old Trafford Falls stands as England's fourth tallest waterfall, behind only Cauldron's Snout at 60 metres, Canontain Falls at 70, and Courtley Spout at 76 metres. I couldn't stop laughing. Now, if you're keen to take in something a little bigger next time you're knocking about the UK looking for a waterfall, Es Al Colaloon in the parish of Assymt in Sutherland in the Scottish Highlands takes the prize of the UK's biggest waterfall at 200 metres. So, Dan, to get there, it's going to require a 6-mile or 10-kilometre walk across boggy terrain. And in good weather in Scotland, which might be limited to about 2 days in August each year, there's a boat trip which runs from the slipway by the hotel to Loch Beag, where I'm informed you can see Es Al Colaloon in all its beauty. Now, just a quick shout out as well to my mate Roy. He's my only Scottish friend, and he let me know how to pronounce Es Al Colaloon. Whereas if you see how I've got it written down in front of me, you understand why I've had to get a translator. So yeah, shout out to Roy. But yeah, Old Trafford Falls, Dan. It's one of
beautiful this time of year. Isn't it?
Beautiful this time of year.
I think if that match had kicked off maybe an hour and a half later, then the Arsenal players coming from that away dressing room would have had to take a similar walk and boat trip to get onto that pitch. Did you see the leaks in the...
It was so bad.
There's been a fair few leaks in the United dressing room down the years, but not on the away end.
Nice.
Wait for that one.
Yeah, no, it's awful. But United fans have been going on about this for years, rightly so. And it's not just, like a few leaks on the weekend. This has been going on for years and years. So the Glazers need to get their hands in their pockets. But I imagine a few things would change now with the introduction of new ownership and stuff. So
yeah. I mean, the stage was set. You could imagine Peter Drury biting his lip, waiting for Arsenal to score a couple of goals and drop like, the floodgates are open at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
It doesn't rain at pause. Like, he was really like a coiled viper ready to strike. All right. Here's one for you then, Sam. Borussia Dortmund are aiming to win their first Champions League title since 1997 when they take on Real Madrid at Wembley next month. But it may be in their financial interest to lose the match. So Jude Bellingham, of course, swapped Dortmund for Madrid last summer. But reports in Germany claim that if Bellingham were to go on and win the Champions League with the La Liga side, Madrid would owe Dortmund an additional payment of €5 million. There would also be another add-on of €2 million if Bellingham were to be named in UEFA's official Champions League team of the season. That all means that if Dortmund were to win the Champions League, they would earn around €500,000 less from prize money and transfer clauses than if they finished as runners-up. Can't put a price on success, Sam, can you? Or can you? 500K? Or
maybe
a couple of mil, either way.
Maybe. Oh, that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah,
what would you do?
Interesting.
I mean, I doubt many of the fans would be too happy if it's a hollow victory, isn't it? If they finish as runners up, but they bring on the bacon.
An extremely hollow victory, yeah. That's crazy. I don't know if anything like that's ever happened before.
Not off the top of my head, but I mean, considering Madrid's record in the Champions League, I think that clause is active for like 5 seasons or so, 5 years or something. Considering Madrid's recent record, where they seem to win the Champions League every other year.
Yeah,
Dortmund would be thinking, have a year off, guys. Do that. We'll cash the checks next season.
That's brilliant. Have you seen the odds for the final?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't looked at it.
No, I haven't as well. Let me quickly get it up.
Doing this on the fly. What if they're really boring?
They could be very boring. Maybe it'd still be more interesting than our chat. I don't know. Let me have a quick look.
Dortmund are 4.75.
Wow. Okay.
Madrid are 1.61.
Yeah, not surprised at that. I mean, they should run away with it, shouldn't they? Madrid really on paper, but Dortmund have been pretty handy, especially in the knockout stages. Yeah, I've really enjoyed watching them. Did a number on PSG, which was nice to see. So
goal line 2.75.
Oh, it's a final though, isn't it, Dan? It's
the unders.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I won't be going over it.
No, that's what I mean. 2.75. I'd take that.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad.
Right,
anyway,
what else you got?
Next up, we're off to Bucharest. We're off to Romania. So, you know those days, Dan, where you rock up to work and think, I wish I had an identical twin brother to send in my place and perform the necessary duties, but albeit to a much lower, non-desirable standard. Well,
I don't think I've had those fantasies for a while.
Well, I've actually had a few of them recently, and that allegation is what Dinamo Bucharest have put to their centre back, Edgar Lee. So Edgar Lee, by the way, he started in Guinea-Bissau's most recent and final group stage game in the African Cup of Nations against Nigeria. So this is quite a high-profile professional footballer in that respect, okay? Like, he's got each of Barcelona, Lille, Trabzonspor, Başakşehir. Butchered that.
Başakşehir, isn't it?
There we go. And Feyenoord on his CV at 30 years old. So, yeah, like a professional, established European footballer at the elite level. And after the tournament, after the African Cup of Nations, Edgar Lee moved to Bucharest to play his football. He moved from the Turkish top flight from Başakşehir, who will, by the way, they'll finish in the European spots in Turkey this season. They've had a good season. So he's moved on a free transfer after the African Cup of Nations to strengthen a shaky Dinamo back line. But instead, Dinamo Bucharest, they're saying that he sent his twin brother because he couldn't be bothered to go to Romania to play his football. And according to Romanian journalist Emma Shaw, the player currently at the club right now, he's refusing to show his driving license. Also, his attitude arouses suspicion, notably his lack of appetite for foreign languages, even though the supposed player frequented locker rooms where several languages were spoken previously in his career. And his twin brother, Edelino Ley, was in the youth ranks at Sporting Lisbon, so fairly handy, but he only really made it to the Segunda division in Portugal, apart from a 6-month loan spell in Poland. But he was a central midfielder, not a centre-half. And it said that Dinamo Bucharest could actually carry out a DNA test to resolve any remaining doubts. So he is training on the sidelines currently because he does not possess the level required for the first. Oh my God.
It's an unbelievable story.
What I was thinking, like, imagine if it's not his twin brother and he's just playing crap, like he's just in a horrendous stretch of form, and his employers like accusing him of sending a fraud along in his place.
Throwing out these allegations to any player that's out of form.
That's hilarious. And honestly, I don't know either player, but I've had a little look on Wikipedia and stuff, and they look nothing like each other. So
they're not even identical twins, are they? They're just
One's got like this bit of a. I don't want to go in on him. Like he's had a tough few months, but he's got a dodgy haircut, and the other one's like skinhead. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll bring you the conclusion of any DNA tests and stuff.
Yeah, keep us in the loop, Sam. I mean, it's like Ali Dia levels, isn't it? Of like
brilliant.
Fraud.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. So, on a completely different note to that, did you see that video doing around on Tuesday, I think it was, this week, of the Arsenal fans setting off fireworks outside of Manchester City's hotel as they prepared for their match at Tottenham on Tuesday night? So, yeah, set off fireworks 2 a.m, hoping to disrupt the sleeping patterns. The classic, love to see that night before a final. So, of course, Arsenal were in the rare position where they were cheering on their North London rivals in the title race against in the title race against City, cheering on Tottenham to try and get a result against them. Well, the BBC have claimed that not only were Manchester City's players and staff not in that hotel, but they weren't even in London and were traveling down to the capital on the day of the game. So they traveled down Tuesday morning. It's just, I just really feel for the people. It could be on a nice little romantic weekend in London on a business trip.
You got a hotel of like businessmen and stuff heading for, like a big meeting in London the next day on absolutely no sleep for no reason.
Fuming.
I did see a few videos, Dan, but I swear one of the blokes, because they're all like got balaclavas on and stuff, I swear one of the blokes had that jacket on that you've got on right now. Like, could you tell me your whereabouts on the night of Monday the 13th, please?
Do have a history of pyrotechnics.
Anyway, we'll move away from that before someone gets arrested. But next up, John Duran at Aston Villa. He scored a brace against Liverpool on Monday night. And he's got them Champions League football. So that draw and Tottenham's subsequent failure to beat City has got Aston Villa Champions League football. And I think what needs to be celebrated on some kind of platform, on some kind of podcast, is his seamless transition from scoring the equaliser against Liverpool on Monday night into his celebration. So I feel like someone needs to speak about it. Did you see the goal?
Where the ball has just been smashed into him.
Yes.
Bounced off his knee or whatever it was.
There'll be some people listening that haven't seen it, so please, like, whilst you're listening, go get this up on YouTube or somewhere. I'll paint the picture. So he has absolutely no idea what's going on. He's just scored to make it 3-2. Really handy finish as well. He came off the bench, really good finish, cut inside from the right and beat Alisson with his left foot just outside of the box. But for a second, so Moussa Diaby picks the ball up on the halfway line, kind of spins and turns a Liverpool player, sprints past him at some speed, like he's really pacey, isn't he? And as he approaches the Liverpool box, probably about 40 yards out, Diaby looks to play in Duran, who's made kind of an arched run to position himself perfectly in between the two centre backs. But the thing is, Moussa Diaby, who's a very quick man, is clearly running far too fast to be able to thread the ball through to Duran with any kind of, like cuteness. That has probably got to be one of the most difficult traits in football, to be able to weight a ball perfectly when you're running at maximum pace. So Diaby belts it at Duran, and it's kind of aimed at his hip. Like, no way anyone can control that at that speed. But it's kind of just in front of his body. And as Duran is running, like, his knee comes up as he's running, and it meets the ball in such a way where he leaves Alisson kind of stumped, and it inadvertently causes Brazil's number one to be flat-footed, and it lobs the ball over him into the corner of the goal from about 25 yards out. It was a brilliant goal. Knew absolutely nothing about finish. And as it's kind of looped over Alisson, he's kind of just like, obviously he was running and that's where he's met the ball. And he's kind of just kept running, looking to see, obviously it's gone in, and he's just kept running towards the corner flag, like, seamlessly. There was no doubts about what he had just done. It was like he had meant it. And he's just kind of running motion, sprinted into his celebration, which was a knee slide in front of the Aston Villa fans, who were going like apoplectic because they thought that may be, guaranteed Champions League football, which it did. And it was just so lucky, but he made it look like he 100% meant it. And I'm sure if you asked him, he would say that he did as well. And that is everything that I want in a striker playing up top for my football team. So fair play to John Duran. I just felt that someone needed to speak about it because it was brilliant.
Yeah. It's a good lesson for life, though, isn't it? I mean, if anything goes your way, you get a bit lucky. Just celebrate. Just act like it was intentional. Just
style it out, and if anyone asks, like, you absolutely did mean it. Just look them deadpan in the eye, like, of course, yeah. Anyway, I got a bit carried away there. I was actually going to mention like a stat from John Duran this season. So Duran is in the Premier League. He's actually averaging 0.28 goals per shot from 4.390s this season, and that is second only to Elijah Adebayo of Luton, who's at 0.33 goals per shot from a much broader sample size of 14.990s. So yeah, going off subject a little, but I really like Adebayo, actually. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if a Premier League side tries to get him out of Luton this summer. He's a real handful. But those kind of stats, 0.28 goals per shot in the Premier League. Like, obviously he's just been an impact bench player, but that's really impressive.
Yeah, it's Franny Jeffers for England kind of rate, isn't it? Just getting a goal pretty much every shot, every 4 shots. It's crazy.
Impressive.
It's crazy. So did you see the expected goal stats for that match? And the XG for what was the second goal from Duran? Do you know what it was?
I actually didn't. I really want to know. What is it?
0.05 for the third one. His first goal to made it 3-2, 0.06. Yuri Tielemans' goal. Yeah, Yuri Tielemans' goal, 0.07.
Wow. Right. What? So they're saying that that Duran's first goal was just 0.01. Yeah. More of an expected goal than the one where he's ran through the ball and lobbed it over. Yeah, that's
according to Understat. 3 goals with an average XG of 0.06. And did you see Diego Carlos's miss in the first half?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, where he's kind of bumbled over the ball on the line.
Leon Bailey's played it across the goal line to him. Basically, it's not even along
on the line. Like, it's harder to miss, probably.
XG. Do you know what the XG was for that?
Go on.
0.97.
Oh, that's a disgrace.
And then they score 3 goals, none higher than an XG of 0.08. So
that is brilliant.
It's 100% shots you don't take and all that. So staying with the Premier League, Sheffield United season will go down as one of the worst ever in the history of the Premier League. Currently
Terrible.
bottom, 16 points, 101 goals conceded. It's not looking good. And they will lose to Spurs on Sunday, which they are expected to do. And for my outright bets, I really hope they do because I've got Spurs to finish on over 64 points. They're currently on 63 points. So I'm really hoping for a win on Sunday for Spurs.
So it needs to be over 64. Can it be 64?
Over 64.
Over, okay.
Yeah, so a draw won't do. They should win, surely. But if Sheffield United do lose that game, if Spurs win it, Sheffield United will be tied with Huddersfield's 18-19 season as the third lowest ever season points total of just 16. Only teams worse than them, Sunderland in 2005-06, finished with 15. And of course, Derby County, 07-08, 11 points from 38 matches. The only ones that are worse. Do you think that's ever going to be beaten, Sam?
I don't think so. That's a really, really poor season. 11 points. So you think at some point you'd fluke, you'd fluke a few results over a 30 game sample. So, I don't think so. Can we continue from one terrible Premier League football club onto another?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
It seems like a good segue. Now, I won't dwell on it for too long because we've mentioned how bad Manchester United are a few times, but I saw one stat doing the rounds this week, which kind of blew me away a little bit. So Man United have now matched Derby County from the season we just spoke about, 2007-2008, for shots conceded in the Premier League on 630 shots. But obviously, we're recording this on Wednesday morning, so United have 2 more games to play against Newcastle at home and Brighton and Hove Albion away from home. So obviously they're going to concede at least 1 shot. So they're going to end the season as having faced the most ever shots in the Premier League era in a single season, which is remarkable, isn't it? Really
unforgivable. Honestly,
it's terrible. It's terrible.
The team they've assembled, the experience of some of those players, and yes, injuries, but
yeah, plenty of injuries.
Inexcusable, honestly.
But there's injuries to a football team, and then there's conceding the most shots ever in a Premier League season. It's a long season, and they've not had injuries all the way through. And even so, in the summer, spending 80 mil on Anthony and etc. They have the resources to avoid these kind of stats. It shouldn't be happening. And if we get to a stage, the start of the season next season, and Erik ten Hag is still in his job, I'll be amazed. If I was a fan of that football club, I'd want him out ASAP. Finish the season, fair enough. There's no point in maybe getting rid of him in the last month or two. But there's new faces behind the scenes now. New ownership kind of structure on the footballing side with Ineos coming in. Just start afresh and get someone else in, because I don't think he's cut out for it. I've seen contrasting opinions as well from United fans too. Like some back Ten Hag with the resources. They back him with the right playing staff. They back him to do pretty well and stay and have a decent career at United. But I just can't see it. He's been there for a little while now as well. Yeah, it's not like he's halfway through his first season. He's been there a little while, so I'm just not having him.
No, I mean, injuries, every single team in the Premier League's had injuries this season. United have had, 12 players out at times, but other clubs have had that. Brentford have had that at one point this season, didn't they? Liverpool have had similar.
Exactly, yeah.
Conceding that number of shots in a season, that's nothing to do with injuries. That's a structure of a team. You can keep it a bit tight with maybe players are a little bit less senior. Okay, they may not have the quality, but a lot of that's down to just team structure, isn't it? Conceding that volume of shots.
Exactly. I know we speak about him a lot, but you see Casemiro's performance on the weekend for that goal, for Arsenal's goal as well. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like he has mentally and physically checked out at Manchester United. He's done. He's got to be going in the summer because his bags are packed in the change room. I think it looked like he was half-arsed in what he was doing. I can't believe he played. You had Kumbuala on the bench, centre half, young lad. Just didn't really make sense why he wasn't playing instead. He must be a bit annoyed. I know Casemiro comes with a lot of experience, and in his day he's a really, really good player. But for him to be shoehorned into centre back over Kumbuala, Kumbuala must be a little bit frustrated, a little bit miffed.
It was, they didn't do too bad, Man United, I don't think at times, but Casemiro looked off the pace. But again, they may get saved. Saudi could come in and undo the errors, because I think Casemiro would probably go down as one of the worst transfers Man United have made in the past 10 years. It's, there's a lot of them. But
was it 70 mil?
To Saudi, something like that. And then the salary.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Rafael Varane's on his way out, isn't he?
Yeah.
Another one you could put into that category.
It's a summer of change. Thing is with Varane, like, he's a really good centre half, and he's not done too badly. It's that kind of old saying where, like, availability is the best ability, and he's just not been available enough.
Footballer. And also, you've got to think of these contracts. Maybe stop signing players who've done it all. Maybe sign players who are about to do it all. I don't know.
Stop doing that.
Yeah.
This season should tell you to, change tact. I think they will, though. I think they will.
Can't get any worse. Moving on to this week's bets. But before we do that, let's have a look at Sam's tips from last week. And Sam, another 2 winners. Well, 1 win, 1.5 win. Let's start off with Norwich versus Leeds. You went for Norwich plus 0.25 goals in the Asian handicap market. Half win with that 0-0 draw.
Yes. And I watched the game, and if you watched it, you'd have seen that it really did feel like two teams maybe out of form, trying to find previous form, but maybe failing in that regard. And they were just kind of butting heads for large periods. There wasn't too many chances of note. I thought that would be the case. I thought Leeds would be, more than happy to take a draw back to Ellen Road. And they've done that, and now they're obviously favourites to proceed and to progress into the final of the playoffs. And I think they probably will do that. But in terms of the first leg, very cagey. And a shout out to you, by the way, Dan, because you said if you were to have a bet on this game, it would be under 2.5 goals. And at 0-0, you can't really get too much better than that. So kudos to you.
Thank you very much. I mean, I placed your bets after the show and accidentally placed them twice.
Wow.
So it was double stakes, so it's double units for me. But I mean, if they're winning, can't complain.
Surely I've got to get a little chunk of that, haven't I? Accidental double stakes now. All right, fair enough.
My mistake.
Fair enough.
Man United versus Arsenal was the other bet. You went for Arsenal to win and under 3.5 Arsenal goals, coming in at 1.95.
Yeah, called that pretty well as well. It fell. The game fell as we thought it may. Arsenal, the better team, clearly. Man United with plenty of injuries and kind of struggling with any real identity on the pitch going forward and in defensive areas. They were without Bruno Fernandes and Rashford, which really hampered their ability in the final third. There was just no kind of ingenuity at all to unlock the Arsenal defence. There was nothing there. So I think that was a really safe bet. Arsenal never looked like running away with it. When they got the first goal, they almost seemed somewhat content to sit on that. They could have got another, but and I never saw them scoring 4 or more. So Arsenal to win under 3.5 Arsenal goals, that was really comfortable at 1.95. So happy with that.
Yeah, I think they restricted United to a few speculative efforts. They had quite a few shots statistically, United did, but I think I read that the average shot distance for United in that game was something like 19 yards. So they were mostly.
I don't remember many. I haven't got the stats up. I don't remember many shots on target. And if they were maybe. Did Garnacho have a shot from way out?
Garnacho hit wide. He was sort of drifted out to the left hand side. And
there was nothing of note. But like you see, without Fernandes, and I don't know. Like I said, we're recording Wednesday morning. I don't know if he's fit for Newcastle at home tonight, but if they don't have Fernandes, you just can't see them scoring a goal. No. I think you can pick up Newcastle at the 0.0 Asian handicap at the minute at a decent price. So if you're listening, I don't know if many will listen before the game, but if you are, then maybe that's a shout.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Good shout. So that was another win. Sam takes you to a season profit of plus 4.79 units, which isn't bad going. Mm-hmm. And after you requested it last week, I got together the overall stats. So you've staked 29.5 units in total. Well, you staked 31.5, but I'm excluding the 2 units on unsettled bets, which will be decided when England's squad for the Euros gets announced in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
So that's 4.79 units of profit for an ROI of 16.23%.
Okay, yeah, I'm really happy with those numbers, to be honest, Dan. And it's probably something any better would say. Like you hear loads of people say it, but I feel we've got pretty unlucky as well with some picks. So if we go back to Aaron Ramsdale smashing it against Johan Visser in like the 45th minute to lose a first half bet, and then also betting on Birmingham against Rotherham, who had just appointed Steve Evans whilst we were recording the show. Those are just 2 bets that I think we probably got a bit unlucky with. So yeah, I'm really happy to that. And if you just fold that into, I don't want to big myself up too much, but if you fold that into kind of my articles and stuff on the Betting Expert website, that takes me up to 25% ROI for the season on the podcast and on site. So it's a pretty big figure, which in this game is not too bad. So long may that continue.
Not bad at all, Sam. I won't talk about my outright picks because let's just say we need Tottenham to win on Sunday against Sheffield United.
Surely.
Not been my best season. Actually, been my worst season for outright bets, I think, since I started posting on Betting Expert. So, yeah, good time to start a podcast. Anyway, let's get on with your. Go on.
So I was just saying, now it's Arsenal's time to cheer on Tottenham.
Bring it on
again.
Bring it on. Let's get on with your tips for this week, and you're starting off with Southampton versus West Brom in the Championship playoffs.
Yeah, so second leg of the Championship semi-final in the playoffs. The first leg, like Leeds versus Norwich, ended 0-0. That was a little bit of a different game. That wasn't so cagey. There was a lot of opportunities and quite a lot of play in each other's final third. So I've picked out a prop selection, which is maybe the first on the podcast. So usually we record early in the week and we don't have any prop markets for fixtures available on the weekend just because of the time we record the podcast. So this is a nice change. And I really like this prop selection because there are 3 avenues where this can profit unusually for this shot selection. So Darnell Furlong for West Brom, he's got a monster throw-in. And that'll be launched into the box on occasion here. And that's one avenue we can profit, and corners and free kicks to the other 2. Like you'd expect when taking a shots angle for a central defender, so capable and aggressive aerially. So we're looking at Kyle Bartley over 0.5 shots and Kyle Bartley over 1.5 shots. 1 shot, 2.25 and 2 shots is 7-1. So if that ball is worked into the box and Kyle Bartley is in there, we've got a great chance of the 2.25 being ticked off. The 7-1 won't be a million miles away if he can get his first. And looking at the odds and the lay of the land with this being at St. Mary's, the bookies expect Southampton to win. And if you had to choose a side to progress, most would opt for the 1.80 about Southampton right now. And if they do get in front and West Brom need to push and find an equaliser or close the deficit, it's only natural that their biggest and best aerial threat will be thrust into goal scoring positions. And the great thing about the shots market is that Bartley only really needs to make contact with the ball and for the ball to travel goalwards here, and it's job done. Like a faint flick into a defender right in front of him, or him ballooning like a meaty header into Rose Ed, like that will both pay us out on Friday night. And if we dig into the stats a little, they're quite favourable too in terms of the odds presented to us here. So Kyle Bartley averages 0.97 shots per 90 across 29.0 Championship matches. In the first leg, he had 4 shots, 4 attempts. Here is not even priced on Bet365, but 3 or more is 20-1 if you are brave enough. He also had 2 headers on the final day of the season, 1 from a corner, and he actually also scored from a furlong throw-in. 2. So in his last 5 games where he's played the 90, Bartley's shot counts read as 4 in the last game, 2, 1, 4, and 1. So 2.25 for one shot at goal for him to flick the ball in the direction of the goal. Yeah, I'm going to have that.
Yeah, I mean, not quite John Duran numbers for shots, but
not
doing
quite.
all right, isn't he?
Not quite.
I remember he used to play for Swansea, didn't he?
Yes.
Cal Bartley. I don't think he made more than 25 appearances in about 6 seasons, but he's become absolutely integral for West Brom, isn't he? He's playing pretty much every game.
Yeah, he's a mainstay. Like I said then, I think it was nearly 30 90s in the Championship this season at centre-half. So,
yeah, important player. I mean,
very important.
Sat down on Sunday to watch both Championship playoff matches and Arsenal versus Man United. It was hardly a footballing feast, was it? Overall,
no,
looking at the average, 1 goal between the 3 games, wasn't there? And so, do you think we will need this match to open up a little bit? I mean, it was the most open of the 3, probably, this game.
Yeah, but it was. I don't think we necessarily. I don't think we necessarily need to see it open up for it to win. Because obviously, like if you can nick a free kick, or in this case, even if you could get a throw in like a little bit into Southampton's half, then the onus is on them to really get it in the box and make the most of the situations, which I think that'll be their focus on set pieces. There'll be a big focus on that in this game. I don't think it necessarily needs to open up, but I think the way Southampton play at home, I think the way Russell Martin will set Southampton up, I think it will lend itself to an open game anyway. I don't think Carlos Corberán is going to really sit in and soak up pressure for the 90. I think they'll have a good go as well because they got the players to do so. Got some really handy players in that West Brom side. So I think it will be open similarly to the first leg, but I wouldn't say we necessarily need it to be open for the shots angle to win. And I just think those prices are too big, Dan. 2.25 just for him to get a flick towards goal. Like he's a big boy, and he attracts a lot of attention from defenders in that box because they know it's heading towards him. They know he's going to be in the mix, whether it's for a flick on or a shot at goal. So the only way I see this not coming in is maybe if just simply the opportunities aren't there, if there are no throw-ins, free kicks, corners, or he's kind of hounded out by Southampton centre-backs and he just doesn't get a sniff. But at those odds, I think we've got to play it.
Yeah, I mean, we probably want Southampton to score, don't we?
Ideally,
we don't really want West Brom to get a goal early on. We want Southampton to score so they can just check the big man up front.
That's true. And, Southampton get an early goal and it's non-stop West Brom pressure like throughout the game. Then this should be okay. Yeah,
that over 2.5 might look a little better. So, what are you doing with staking for this?
Oh yeah, sorry. So I'm gonna go. What am I doing? So I'll probably just split the unit. So maybe I'll go 0.75 units on the first line, one shot, and then 0.25 on the 7-1 over 1.5 shots.
Okay, interesting. So that's Carl Bartley shots for West Brom against Southampton in the second leg of their Championship playoff match. Moving on with your second tip, and it's for the final match in the Premier League. Sam, Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa, final match day of the Premier League, I should say.
Yes, so let's start with the first. We've got 2 bets here. Start with the first bet. It's Crystal Palace to win at 1.83 for 1 unit. Now, on my sheet, obviously I've got to kind of research and pick my bets before we come onto the pod. And on my sheet yesterday, before Tottenham played City, I had Crystal Palace minus 0.25 at about 1.85, so around the same price they are to win the game now. And I was probably going to go for 2 units on that, because even if they drew, we'd have got a nice bit back. But that's since gone massively. And Crystal Palace to win went from 2.1 all the way down to 1.83. So which is a little bit annoying from my perspective, but look, so I'm just going to go for Palace on the 1x2, because I think even at 1.83, even though they're playing Aston Villa, Champions League bound Aston Villa, I still think it's a good price. And the second bet is Crystal Palace to win the game in a bet builder, accompanied with Crystal Palace most shots at 2.75. And I'm going to do that for half a unit. So Crystal Palace most shots, that's a new market on Bet365. So it's good to be able to get that involved for this bet today. So yeah, let's have a look into it a little bit. Aston Villa qualified for the Champions League 5 years after promotion from the Championship. That is remarkable. So very good. Impressive. Yeah, good steady owners. They've invested wisely. got the large bulk of their recruitment right, got the right football people in the right place at the club. Monchi and Emery now in position to really drive Villa forward. Very impressive, and kudos to them. So naturally, let's bet against them. I'm of the opinion that Palace are the worst team that Villa could face on the final day now, with nothing on the line in terms of result. Palace are in really good form. They're attack-minded. You saw them zipping the ball across the attacking third against Wolves. The shackles are well and truly off. And that's shown in their recent results. Only Manchester City have a better 6-game unbeaten run form in the top flight. So they've won 6 out of 6. And Palace, they've won 5 out of 6. They're a team reborn, a side with the shackles off, like I said. And yeah, they've won 5 out of 6, but they're unbeaten in 6. So the other was a draw. So if Villa aren't on at it on the final day, a day which holds no jeopardy for them now, then they will struggle. And I'd like to highlight John McGinn's comments after the match versus Liverpool on Monday night. With, like, if you look at these comments and then you consider these comments alongside Villa's recent scheduling with European commitments and now their lack of a seasonal objective, it indicates that them slacking off will probably be the case. Where are these quotes? I've lost the quotes. That is an absolute nightmare. Basically, right, from the top of my head, what's he said? He said something along the lines of, like, you'd be able to see it in our play. We're a team of like half men in terms of injuries, and they're dead on their feet, basically. And he said, for example, Yuri Tillemans has come in. He's playing through the pain barrier. Like, they're really struggling at the minute. So their schedule has been like ridiculous. So yeah, I think that Palace avoiding defeat, I expect that. And I think they'll have enough in the tank to overcome like a weary looking Villa outfit in front of fans for the last time. And you've probably seen as well, Dan, reports of Bayern Munich's offer for Glasner. I think about 18 million they've offered Palace. And like any kind of workplace, that will be ringing round Crystal Palace, ringing around Selhurst Park and the training ground. So yeah, something juicy like your new manager, like maybe being teased away to Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in the world. That'll be common knowledge and people will be speaking about that. And I think that might give them an extra 5% here to maybe want to prove a point to Glasner that Selhurst Park is somewhere worth staying. They're all clearly happy under the new regime. The players are thriving. So I'd expect a little bit of a reaction to some degree for that. And I've seen also from Get French Football News linking Mateta to replace Osimhen at Napoli, which highlights his form right now. Big boots to fill. And he's also been quoted by L'Equipe saying, I won't hide it. I'm thinking about the Euros, the France national team. It's my number one objective, my childhood dream. So he'll be approaching this in full throttle in between Elise and Eze. And I just think they're going to be far more at it than Villa will, who the official Villa Twitter account were posting pictures and videos of them on the booze at their kind of end of season do last night. They were having a very good time. So
I was going to bring this up. We saw the champagne corks being popped at I think it was at Villa Park, wasn't it? John McGinn with the mic on stage. Maybe a few sore heads tomorrow.
Definitely.
It's on the beach time of the season, isn't it, for them?
I reckon so. We saw Emi Martinez bouncing around the little conference room they were in, like spraying champagne over people. And obviously, like, fair play to them. They've had a brilliant season. To get 4th place in this Premier League, it's remarkable. So I think they'd have been on it last night. And I just want to touch on the bet builder that I mentioned. Palace to win. Palace most shots at 2.75 for half a unit. If we look at shots in Palace's recent games, 18-4 against West Ham at home, 20-7 versus Newcastle at home. They won 9-14 away in Fulham on the shot count, 18-7 at home to United, and they lost last week away on shots in Wolverhampton. But they've had the most shots in each home game on this current winning run under Glasner, and I expect that to continue. Like I said, the most shots market is new to Bet365, but it's a little tricky to navigate as the favourites in any given tie will often take the lead, usually. And then that encourages the other side to obviously attack and shoot more. So it's a really hard one to put your finger on. But here, it's a bit different because Aston Villa don't need a win. They don't need anything, hence the inclusion and the likely continuation of Palace coming forward through the thirds and attacking without any real thought of game state and protecting the lead because they're not fighting for anything either. So I really like both bets, and I'll be shocked if Palace don't come away with the win on Sunday.
Fantastic. I mean, looking at it, a few things to note. Villa haven't won any of the last 5 in all competitions. Just they are starting to come off the ball, not just in the Premier League, but as we saw, they coming out of Europe as well. Mateta is 2.4 to score any time.
I saw that. I had him jotted down. He was 2.6, and I thought I'm probably going to have a go at that. And then he went to 2.4, and Palace's price got slashed, and I thought I'll just leave it out and go with most shots. But yeah, it's still a decent price because he's scoring for fun.
Yeah, it's not a bad price. The only thing that's kind of pulling me against this bet, Palace have won each of their last 3 in the Premier League at home, haven't they?
Yeah.
Do you know the last time they won 4 consecutive home matches in the top flight? Note, I said top flight there, not Premier League, because that's probably a hint.
Have they ever done that?
They have done that. They last did it back in 1990.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
So, I mean, you should have known they got that 1-0 win over Liverpool back in December 1990. You should have. Don't remember that one, Sam. But yeah, I mean, they've beaten West Ham, didn't they? 5-2. They beat Newcastle 2-0. And they beat Manchester United 4-0 as well in the most recent home game. Yeah. So, 4th one here to clinch what would be a Premier League record for them.
Yeah, what I'm expecting, like in my head, I've got pictured that, the Suns beating down on Selhurst Park. There's a bit of a carnival atmosphere. Elise and Eze are getting all the tricks out. Mateta's gunning for blood. He wants to get in the Euro squad. Against like John McGinn, and Emi Martinez, Ollie Watkins and co. Got nursing a little bit of a hangover, like their legs are, heavy and tired. That's how I'm seeing this. So hopefully it plays out a little bit like that. And maybe Villa will be rotated. Yuri Tillemans won't play. Maybe Watkins and the like will be rested too. Maybe John Duran will get 90 minutes, which may be dangerous actually, going off his stats. May end up with like 5 or 6 goals if he plays the full 90. But yeah, that's how I see it. And it's annoying that I'm bringing you a price much, much shorter than it was yesterday, but just one of those things.
Nature of the beast, man. Yeah, I mean, last game of the season before a summer of tournaments as well, international tournaments, one thing to keep an eye on, looking at players who have their places in their respective national squads sewn up, sealed. Yeah. They're not going to be putting in those extra few.
It's not far away, is it?
They're going to be flying into tackles, are they?
It must be only a couple of weeks until you join up with your national team. So
yeah, if that.
You got to think these Premier League managers are going to be thinking about that. Do I really need to rest this guy? To risk this guy, for the last game when nothing's on the line and he's off in 2 weeks? Let's give him a bit of a rest. Let's hope Emery's resting the lot.
I think they probably need to rest themselves after what happened last night for them.
Get your feet up. Go on.
Get your feet up, lads. Get on the beach. Get on the sun lounger. So just to summarize Sam's tips this week, 4 tips in all, really, on 2 different matches. Looking at Southampton versus West Brom in the Championship semi-final playoffs. He's gone for Kyle Bartley over 0.5 shots at 2.25 odds, putting 3/4 of a unit on that. The other quarter is going on the next line up the ladder, Kyle Bartley over 1.5 shots. That's available at 8.0. Second set of tips are for Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. First one is for Crystal Palace to win at 1.83 in the 1x2 market. 1 full unit on that. The second is a builder, Palace to win, and Crystal Palace team with the most shots at 2.75. Just half a unit on that. So, I mean, Sam, 2 perfect weeks in a row. Well, near
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've not done like a three-peat on the podcast yet. We've not gone 3 weeks on the bounce with cash in every bet. And if we do that here, that would be very, very nice. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. If you are going to be using any of the bets from today's show, then please gamble responsibly, only betting what you can afford to lose. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks as ever to Sam Ingram.
Thank you very much.
Thank you from me. We'll be back next week.